It's important that we don't put the rim tape on the wheel, otherwise the tyre simply won't go in. So let's just throw that away. The first thing we have to do before fitting the pins in the tyre is to ensure we've measured the inside of the rim between the hooks. In this case it's reading 19.2122 millimeters. Now the anodise on the rim essentially means that this is a 19 millimeter rim. With all Tannus tyres we get 3 widths of pins depending on the rim which they're going to go in. The black ones here are 21.5mm wide, the blue ones are 22.5mm wide, and the pink ones are 23.5mm wide. So we've established that it's a 19mm rim, and adding 3.5mm onto that we come up with the pin size of 22.5mm. We've established that the rim is 19mm, so just to check we get the right pin size, which is vital, we'll just use the 21.5mm pin and try and fit it under the rim hooks. When I do that, you can see that it's a very slack fit and it just drops out, so we don't want that one. If I go for the bigger pin, which is the 23.5mm one, and do the same, it will not go under. It just won't fit in, so that's too big. So having tried the smaller pin and the bigger pin, if we go for the one which we worked out to be correct, the blue pin, the 22.5mm one, and do the same again and try and fit that into the rim and give it a twist with the pliers, we find out that it goes in nice and snugly, and there's a little curve of the pin towards the middle of the rim, so that is the one we're going to use. So that's just an extra check that we have measured right. The tyre comes out of the box and it's curled like a snake. Obviously that's not going to go on, so we need to get it more wheel shaped. And the other thing is, without stretching the tyre, it simply won't go on the rim. Through experience, I found that doing this about 50 times in the way I'm going to show you next works every time. If you economise on the number of stretches, it comes back to haunt you and you can't get the tyre on. So I said it is important to stretch it. Now, to ease this, it often helps to warm the tyre up a bit. Now you can do that by putting it in an airing cupboard, putting some warm water over it, though not boiling obviously, or we have, and in one case a customer wrapped it up in an electric blanket for half an hour, or you can simply put it on a radiator. So coming to stretching it, just try and straighten it out a bit and get your foot on one side and then stretch. Quite hard. I stretch 50 times because I know this works. There we go, and as you can see it's resembling more of a round shape. The next step is to push the pins into the tyre. I do this in 2 steps. Firstly by just getting the pins started by hand and then pushing them in with the tool that comes with the tyre. What you need to notice on the pins is they've got a curved side and a flat side. The curved side needs to go in the curved side hole in the tyre. So if we just start pushing these in and work our way around. So we've got the pins in, and now the next step is to make sure we put the tyre rotating in the right direction onto the rim, because that is something that we don't want to get wrong. On the side of the tyre, it's imprinted a direction marker. It's vital we get this pointing in the right direction of the travel of the wheel, because once the tyre's on, it's not going to come off again. The next step is to anchor the tyre onto the rim using 3 of the pins. We do this by seating the tyre on one side so it's in firmly, and getting the tyre and wheel between your legs, holding it down with your arm and hand, getting the special tool under the pin, over the pin, and then forcing it in. So that's got one pin in. A firm pressure downwards and the pin will go in. One more. And we've got 3 pins. Oh, it's just come out, which just happened, but so try again. So we've got 3 pins. We can pick the wheel up now, and the tyre's anchored. The next stage is to get the tyre on the rim. Not fully seated, but just enough to get it on. So we work our way around, pressing the tyre into the rim, and we get to a point where we can't get any further. So that's the time. Now is to make sure that we get one of the tyre levers that came with the tyre, and I'm presuming in this case you've had a pair, so you'll have another one, and then take it in turns, leaving the tyre onto the rim. Now, this is where you find out if you've cut corners and not stretched it. But as you can see now, it's going on quite nicely. So just now on the rim. And just squeeze round and just make sure it goes in. So it's roughly seated. So now we've got the tyre on the rim, it's time to push all the other pins in exactly the same way as we did when we were putting the first 3 on. So pick the tyre up and just look at any pins which have flipped out or not gone in too well. We see we've got 2 or 3, so revisit those. Sometimes you have to roll the tyre over just to make them click in. So there we are, just check around that there are no pins showing, flip the other side, they're all in. So that's it, job done. So what we've got here, the tyre, despite being clipped in by the clips, is not fully seated in the rim. So what we do in this case is we get the tool in one hand, like that, and then we get grip the tyre and then simultaneously roll the tyre over, as well as using the tool to push the tyre into the base. So rolling it over, and with the help of the action of the tool, the tyre will disappear there. Sometimes, as in this case, you might need to go over it again. Just roll the tyre over and press it in. And just make sure that it's all seated nicely. Yes. And that's how you solve that problem. It's all seated nicely and good to go.